Amalga Maniacs, and all of our friends from Retro Ridoctopus, Anime Universe, Throwdown Thursday, and all of our associated online family to your very next installment of Retro Gamia, where I, the boy wonderful Ian Wallace, am also joined by my awesome co-host from Retro Ridoctopus, Nintendo 25, 8-Bit Alchemy, and Boss
Hello.
Rush. Normally, we like to take video games from old, video games from new, and give you guys a little bit of information on them, a little bit of 411, possibly reasons you might want to play them, reasons we
Maybe
like
even
to
some
play
911 if things get really
if things get too
Yeah, things get too dire.
things get a little too out of hand, we'll even give you some
out.
911. Either way, you'll be covered.
We'll give you the
much
1-1.
To be certain. This show, awesome. I could not wait for this show personally. We're going to be talking about Square Enix and all of its awesomeness.
Yes.
Which there is a lot of awesomeness to go over as far as Square Co, Square Enix, Square, whatever you got. However you want to potato that. So we're going to be talking about those games, and we're going to be also going into a little bit of tips and tricks, some of the games that we've played, some of the characters that we like. And we have a bit of a giveaway as custom on our show. We have a little bit of a giveaway for our members. This one's going to be pretty easy. Just let us know what is your favorite Square product, game, action figure, poster, media, whatever media you got. Just let us know what you love about Square, and you'll be in the running for some awesome prizes. This week, we're going to be giving out video games.
Hell yeah!
Actual video games. I mean, as is a custom, we are all gamers, and we all love video games. So we're going to be giving away some video games. And I got a little bit of a pop figure for you guys, too. So we're going to be giving away, and these are all actually games that we have all talked about and or mentioned at some point. So these are all notable mentions from the show. So I thought that was awesome, too.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah. Boss Rush, you had mentioned Doom, so we got Doom 3.
Nice.
Brand new copy of Doom 3 for the listeners out there. Xbox copy. So
that's
Xboxer,
a slick copy.
Yeah, let us know. Nice. Give us your favorite Square product, and we will hook you up with Doom 3. For our PlayStationers, thanks to 8-Bit Alchemy, we have Monster Hunter World.
Yes.
Yeah. The President Taryn Barber demanded. Absolutely. She watched the episode that we did where we were talking about our favorite. I think it was a year.
Not Monster Hunter Island or Monster Hunter Continent. It's the fucking world.
Yeah.
World.
Yes.
I think it was our year in game review that we did, and she watched the episode and was like, "If you guys are giving away video games on the next show, Monster Hunter World must be one." I was like, all right.
Oh, it's such a good game.
So Monster Hunter World is going to be another game for our PlayStationers. And, of course, because Nintendo 25 is our Nintendo guy, we have the Marvel Superheroes Lego for Wii.
Nice.
So get you some. Come on, guys.
It's a good game.
Free video games. Just drop your favorite Square product if you like any Square products. If you're not familiar with Square products, just let us know what one you've seen before or are familiar with. We also have a Sora Pop.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know they made those.
Yeah, we're going to give him away, too.
Oh, nice.
And we have a Gaming Live, your guide to video game live streaming.
Ooh, nice.
A bit of gaming literature, because who says you can't video game?
Page 1, don't be boss rush mode.
So,
if you are boss rush mode, close this book.
Absolutely.
There is no hope.
Now, these gifts will be given away at random to different members. Not one person will get all of them, because not one person obviously would have all three. Well, maybe one person.
Fine, I won't take all of them.
But first come, first served, and we're going to be giving out one prize per person. So we got 4 prizes to give away. Let us know. Shoot us your favorite Square product, and we will hook you up. Give you something to do during this whole quarantine thing. A little gaming, a little reading, a little action figure playing and posing, whatever you got to do, and there you have it. Without further ado, we are going to get into Square. Well, first of all, I want to say how much I miss you guys.
Oh, man. I know. It's been so long.
It feels like a lifetime ago.
It's been a minute.
And it feels like I want to just move up there with you guys. You guys are awesome. You gave me such an awesome time, and
that was
really
awesome.
Remember that time back in the day when we all used to hang out in one place?
Right.
All those,
we could be within 6 feet of each other.
We just don't do stuff like
we
that
can
anymore.
Sit next to each other. We can sit next to each other and touch each other's thighs
all
and
the way
stuff.
back in March of 2020.
Way back.
But I definitely am looking forward to coming back up. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for your hospitality.
Hell,
again.
we'd
Well,
love to
thanks
come
for coming down.
Yeah, we definitely want to come visit you too, man.
Awesome. You got more than welcome. My house is open to you guys.
Hit up
anytime.
Balti.
I mean, you may regret that later on, but
I know, right?
Thanks for the
I gotta
offer,
hide all
though.
my Nintendo games.
You don't want all 25 Nintendos at your house at once.
No.
Right, all 25 of them? No.
Well, I do
too
have
much.
25. I have 25 copies of Silent Service, so
They're all going to be there.
so they'll all be there.
Complimentary copy for the boy Wonderful.
Of course.
Okay. Questions.
Answers.
You know I got
Answers.
questions. You guys got answers.
Maybe.
We all have them. Let's go. What was your favorite Square product or software from Square Enix, Square Co, Square whatever? Your all-time favorite one. Now, you can only pick one. I'm going to start with Nintendo, go to 8-bit, and end up with Boss. Let me know what your if you can only have one. All the rest must go. And you can only have one Square video game or computer game or whatever. What would it be? Nintendo.
Or whatever.
Right.
I personally like the Square Soft conditioner. It makes my hair feel.
Your hair is so beautiful.
It feels
Not
so.
the beauty products, Joe. The video
It feels.
game products.
It feels Square Soft.
I can feel it through the screen.
See, you people have no idea what it's like corralling these guys and getting them into line.
I thought for a second, you guys have no idea what it's like to have hair. Like, what?
Yeah, honestly.
Shots fired.
I feel so attacked right now.
Well, to be fair, you don't know what it's like to have what's left of our hair.
That is crazy. You know what, you guys pick on the bald guy all you want.
I'm not wearing a hat to be stylish.
You're still gonna have to name your favorite Square product of all time.
Hey, my hair's falling out like crazy, so I'll be joining your club shortly, I'm sure.
I'm right there.
There's room.
I give myself another few years, and then it's happening. It's in my genes. I can't avoid it.
Yeah, I gotta wait until this disaster goes away.
I'll
Then go
admit,
see a
there are
barber.
worse things.
I know, bald is beautiful.
So, the
Bald is
question. Let's
Yeah,
answer the
question.
question.
Square
Exactly.
Soft, Square Enix, what game?
What game? Well, my favorite Square Soft game has to be Chrono Trigger, which I'll be talking about later.
Awesome. 8-bit.
It's a fun game.
Chrono Trigger is definitely there for me, but I mean, if I had to pick just one, I'd have to go with a Final Fantasy game. If I had to narrow it down, I'm gonna maybe say Final Fantasy 12.
Ooh, good.
That's the
that one.
MMO
Okay.
one, right?
Yeah.
No.
It's not an
The
MMO.
one with Titus
it's
and those guys, right?
No, that's 10.
Okay.
12 is the one
Well,
with
we don't talk about 10, right? 10 we don't
right,
talk about?
right.
Okay, all right.
12 is the one where it takes place in the world of Ivalice, where like Final Fantasy Tactics was, and like the combat was more like actiony a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to try that one out. Boss?
Well, I didn't really grow up with a lot of the role-playing games. It was not something I got into until later in life. So I didn't pick. Well, I picked a game with role-playing elements. But it wasn't a straight-up role-playing game. It's the game I'm going to be talking about later is Deus Ex: Human Revolution.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
For me, without question, it was the first Square game I was ever introduced to. It was the only Square game that made me want to play all the other ones. Final Fantasy VII. I gotta have it. It is my all-time favorite Square product. Love the story. Love everything about it. Even though the first version for the PlayStation is still tugs on the heartstrings every time I see those little pixelated, squared off.
Little blocky
I mean,
cardboard
you
cutout
little
people.
blocky cardboard people.
You love the cross-dressing scene, right?
That
Oh,
was,
yeah,
you know
the
what?
Honeybee
I'm gonna
Inn
be
is
honest with
timeless.
you. Some of the side
God damn it,
quests
Vincent!
were what made the damn game.
Yeah.
Like, it had a great story, and anyone who knows about Final Fantasy knows it has a great story, but those side quests made the game. And dressing up as a girl to save Tifa, awesome time. Something
Having
I
the
will always
opportunity,
remember.
the rarest, hardest, like romance outfit for you to get through is if you romance Barrett. Like, you had to have gotten no romance points with any of the 3 female characters,
Right.
and then you accidentally just bromance Barrett. It's amazing. That's so good.
completely left turn out of nowhere. No
Right,
one
out of
ever saw
nowhere.
that coming. It was great.
It's so good.
My second question, and this one is, I think, is going to be a hard one because there's so many great ones. Who is your favorite all-time Square character? You can
Well, that's an
only
easy
pick
one for me.
one character. So, who is your favorite character of all time? So, we'll do the same thing, except in reverse. We'll go Boss, 8-bit, and then Nintendo.
Well, this one does come from a role-playing game from Final Fantasy XII. Actually, it's Godbrins.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the
And
judge.
it's
All right,
yeah,
good pick.
and mainly because he just, he's like
cool.
looks-wise my favorite character from the whole Square pantheon.
Yep.
I just think
Okay.
he's just so badass.
8-bit?
I'm gonna have to go with Squall from Final Fantasy VIII.
Hard not to. What
He
a great
is.
character.
I mean, the problem is like he's such an edgelord, but he's really cool. And like, I feel like he's one of those characters that is misunderstood. Like that, you write him off as just like a dick, but like you get through the game and you see what the stuff he's going through and whatnot. But yeah, I gotta go with Squall.
Okay.
Yeah, do tell.
I'm interested in this.
I'm interested in this.
What can I do for you?
What can I do to you?
Nintendo?
Again, same game from Chrono Trigger. It has to be Magus
Okay.
Yep.
All right, nice.
because he has the
It's a game
early-
I've still never played.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's really it's hard to get into.
It's worth
at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually really good.
Final
The
Fantasy
story
VI is another one that I've never actually gone through.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
Six,
I've
I like
only
it a
like
lot.
seen the introduction to that, and I played like the
I
maybe
gotta
the
play through it.
panels, but
Yeah,
is
you
that
do.
is that 3 here in the States? That
Yeah,
Yes.
that was 3 on the Super Nintendo for us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, that's a good one too.
I'm actually at a loss for this one. It's always been a toss-up, a 3-way tie between Sephiroth, Cloud.
3-way. Okay. Yeah.
A 3-way tie between Sephiroth, Cloud, and Vincent Valentine.
Vincent Valentine. I knew that was coming.
Yeah,
don't
Vincent
know how to
Valentine, for sure.
separate my love for any of these guys. If I had to, if you said, okay, you can only pick one, the one that's
Actually, you said you could only pick one, so you got to stick to your own words.
all right, boss. Why are you bringing up old stuff?
Why are you digging up drama?
Because I'm a prick.
All right, fine. Use my words and stick my foot in my mouth if that's what you got to do. Fine.
That's what I'm here for.
It's Vincent. It's got to be Vincent. He's the most relatable to me. I mean, Cloud's a great character. Sephiroth is a great character, but something about Vincent Valentine, the way he carries himself, that monster within, and him being such a sweet and kind of good guy outside of the fact that he turns into a demon and destroys everything in front of him.
Right.
Very relatable for me.
Right.
I get
That's me
that.
when I'm hungry.
So isn't Vincent supposed to be like he's supposed to be dead or something?
See,
have
the
that
thing
illusion?
about him, I don't think that his origin has been completely unrevealed.
Fleshed out, yeah.
Right. So all I can honestly say is that I know for a fact that he was experimented on by a Shinra doctor, and that experimentation led him to have some type of
Yep. Mutant
Excuse
powers or
me.
whatever.
personality
But
where
what's
his
a good?
demon side
It's
comes out,
only violence.
and he has powers
Is it
like a
world?
soldier, but obviously not like a soldier. But
Right.
Okay.
And I mean, yeah, I know that Final Fantasy Dirge of Cerberus on the PS2 definitely like explored a lot more of his story, but that's a game I wish would get remade or like
my god,
or just port it. Don't even touch it. Just port the game, put it on the PS4. I would buy it today.
That could be another episode. Games we wish that would get a remake.
You know what?
Yeah.
I've
As
got
a
a few
matter
in
of
my
fact,
mind.
spoiler, that is going to be our next episode. Games we wish
Awesome.
they would
I know
make.
exactly
There
what
you
I
go.
want to talk
There you
about.
go.
Hell
We're
yeah.
going to give you guys games we wish they would make, and we'll give you
I've
some
already
of
got a
their
game in mind.
counterparts as well. Like
Nice.
obviously he mentions Dredge Cerberus, and we'll obviously mention other games that relate to some of our games, our draft pick, dream pick games. So stick around. You're going to love that episode. My last question. If you had to recommend a game, okay, you got a newbie, he's never played a role-playing game or any of the Square products, you've got to introduce this man into a game or young lady into a game, which one would you give them?
Who are we starting with? You know what? I'll start.
Okay.
I'm gonna stray away from the RPG stuff, and I'm going to go with Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Ooh, okay.
Wow.
A little
Okay.
bit of a curveball there.
All right. No,
There's
actually, that actually makes a lot of sense because gameplay-wise and mechanics, this is a game that you want to start somebody off with that's never played. That's not a real big gamer. Like, this is something that's going to help you, learn the breaks.
You'll
And
be able to get into it and have fun.
Yeah, it's a fresh start for an iconic franchise. So, and I think they did it pretty well. I've played all three of the more recent Tomb Raider games, and I've enjoyed all three of them. So, and I liked all the ones back in the past too, but not, I liked 1 and 2. 3 was okay, and then after that, there was a whole mess of Tomb Raider games I didn't give a shit about. But the last 3 that Square Enix had a hold of, I thought were pretty good. I enjoyed them.
Okay, 8-bit.
So this is tough. I actually want to hear. I want to hear what Joe says before I say mine.
All right, Nintendo.
Well, I'm mostly familiar with their RPGs, so I would have to say Super Mario RPG. Is that what you're gonna say too, Tim?
So I had 2, and I didn't want to say that one if you were going to. So I'm glad you said it.
All right. So that's my pick.
All right, so what's your other one, 8-bit?
Okay, so Super Mario RPG, I just want to say real quick, like that game on the Super Nintendo, it's a great introduction because you have like all the Mario characters, but then you have some new characters. It introduces like the concepts of role-playing games, and it was actually the first RPG I ever played. But so that game's fantastic. It's a little hard to come by, but it is on the Super Nintendo Classic if you can find one of those. But the game that I will say that introduced me to like Square and their whole like pantheon was Final Fantasy IV, aka Final Fantasy II, on the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So that one I think was
the PSP port of that is fucking
amazing.
That's like one of my favorite games ever.
How did the graphics look? Is it different?
Oh my god, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Everything is like HD hand-drawn sprites. Like I've probably played through Final Fantasy IV. Like for some reason they've remade that one so many different ways, and every time it's good. The 3D one on the DS, one on the PSP. I mean, if you can get back and play the Super Nintendo version, I'd recommend the Game Boy Advance version because it's just a little bit touched up. But the game is just solid.
All right, yeah, you guys have never steered me wrong so far, so I'm definitely gonna check it out.
The PSP one's the way to go.
Well, slight little tangent. My first RPG, not that I played, I may have played like 2 RPGs way back in the 80s, and this was one of them, and it happened to be a Square game, was Dragon Warrior.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually the one. That's actually the one I was going to pick. Great Dragon Warrior.
Sorry to step on you.
Okay, hold on. Do we want to get technical, though? Because Dragon Warrior was Enix.
So it wasn't
I'm sorry. It was Enix.
Okay.
So obviously Square and Enix are now one company, so it's we can kind of go say either way, but yeah.
But I think I would go back to something like that, either Faxanadu or Dragon Warrior. I think are both really good. Or is it Xanadu?
Yeah, for Xanadu, or Faxanadu.
One or the other. And, I would definitely say that's a good game. If you're going to get into role-playing games, this is definitely something for the RPG crowd to help you get started. And
Xanadu is tough too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's got like an action platforming element to it, but man, it's a good game though. It's a great game. It's just
I always meant to play it. I still have to play through that one.
And another one that I'm going to kind of throw out there that's not Square Enix, but still a really good introduction kind of to role-playing games, and it's also got a lot of action in it. Cynthia the Knight. I feel like it has a regular Castlevania play to it, but the collection of the items and the farming and the getting the different weapons and stuff,
leveling up,
how to use them, leveling up.
Yep.
These are all things that are very reminiscent of most RPGs. So it's something that if you want outside of Square Enix, it gives you a little bit of prep for what's to come in some of the other bigger RPGs. So definitely check those games out if you have not. Moving right along, we're going to spotlight the games. Get the spotlight. The bat signal. We're going to put the bat signal on the games.
The Square signal.
The Square signal, right. Copyright infringement. We're going to get one letter from Warner Brothers, one letter from Square Enix.
Both of them saying thank you.
Yeah, right. But We each picked a couple of different games to notably mention, Square products that we thought were awesome and would give you a little bit of, ones and twos about. So we are going to start with Nintendo 25, then go to 8-Bit Alchemy, end up with Boss Rush Mode, and then finally the Boy Wonderful. We'll give you our games. So Nintendo, your games.
All right.
if
So
you
like
will,
I said,
sir.
like I said earlier, I'm gonna talk about Chrono Trigger, which I have right here,
Nice.
the
Nice.
OG version, and I also have the Final Fantasy Chronicles version as well,
Oh, nice.
with Final Fantasy 4.
Oh, that's the greatest hits. That might be worth a little bit of
That's
guild.
one of the best combos.
I
Might be
actually,
worth a few guild
I
for that
actually got this from Video Games Monthly. Shout out to Video Games Monthly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
is that
such
the,
a that was
unboxing
such
that
a
you
good
do?
get.
Yes,
Yep.
that's
All
yeah,
right, yeah, okay.
yeah. So and this was sealed, so
Nice.
I unsealed it. So
You got kissed from a
Like,
kissed
so I
from a
can-
rose,
so I
or
can-
kissed by a rose.
Yeah, right.
so
Does
I
it
can
smell like
smell
does it still
smell
smell like
the
new
disc.
game?
So yeah,
Smell it.
Chrono Trigger for me was one of those games that I rented back in the day when Stop and Shop used to rent games,
Oh,
and
wow.
That's right.
a long time ago, and I had it for a weekend. I couldn't quite understand it because I've never played an RPG before, so I didn't know what to expect, and so after the weekend of like not figuring it out, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna give this game another shot because a lot of people are saying how awesome it is, and so I did. I rented it again, and I figured out how to play it, and I fell in love with it. I love the story. I love the characters, the soundtrack, the graphics, everything about it is absolutely amazing. It's why,
Soundtrack's incredible.
which is the reason why I fell in love with Squaresoft to begin with. Is just from this game alone, and it got me into RPGs and wanting to play more Squaresoft RPGs.
You got me into arpeggios.
Arpeggios. That's right. That's right. Yeah, so the game came out in 1995 here in the States, which is crazy. So long ago.
Just a year.
Yeah, just here. It was made by the same people who worked on Final Fantasy, which is why I will always call Chrono Trigger my favorite Final Fantasy game of all time. So the game is about time traveling, as the name suggests. Chrono. It's like another term of time. It's just so good. It's like you travel through time. You gotta like collect like certain items in order to progress through the story. You gotta like save the princess. You gotta save one of the main characters' mother. You gotta resurrect your main character because he ends up dying by one of the main villains called Larvos, which is this alien that lands on, I guess it's Earth. They don't say what planet it is. It's just whatever. It's whatever
yeah.
land they're
Speculative that
from.
it's Earth, right?
Yeah, it's an Earth
so just-
stand-in. Yep.
Yeah. So
Analog Earth.
you find out, like, you travel to the future and you realize that this thing is going to destroy your world in this year.
Future.
So you gotta like future
Past.
past asshole. I
I don't want to go to that
I
time.
don't want to go to that. Yeah. No, definitely not. Not
Uh,
about TP.
Round town.
Right. Right.
Oh.
So you along the way you befriend a few people from like the prehistoric era, from the future. You come across this frog warrior who was actually turned into a frog. And his name is actually Frog in the game, which is absolutely retarded.
He's like, just call me Frog,
Just
but
call
like
me
you do
Frog.
find out his real name.
But his real name was Cyrus. Like no, it wasn't Cyrus. It was Glenn.
Glenn, yeah,
His
and
real
they
name was Glenn, so I would always change his name to Glenn.
yep.
Because it's a frog.
And they actually
Glenn.
in the spiritual sequel in Chrono Cross, that character Glenn is actually in the game.
Oh, that's
okay, cool.
That's cool.
Awesome. So Joe, what else? What was the other game that you had for Square other than Chrono Trigger? Or were you done with Chrono Trigger? Or
I
you
think
still
that was just it. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I have. Oh yeah. Okay. Another game I wanted to briefly mention. It's a game that we never got here in the States. I only played it through emulation. Which is another genre that I typically don't care for. but certain games they just grab me, and this one would have to be Front Mission, which is a tactical RPG. It's basically like a mech game, and it's for the Super Famicom.
Yep.
And it's a really good game. It's like you can customize your robots, and you can change the name of them, you can change the color of them, the way how they look. Like you can buy parts, and you can like have one arm be like a claw, another arm be like a big freaking gun or whatever. And
nice.
yeah, it's a really cool game. It's extremely long, as RPGs tend to be. But yeah, I mean, if you guys can play it like through emulation or whatever, it's awesome. I mean, it's been a long time since I played it, so.
And what was the name of it again?
Too much, but Front Mission.
Burnt Mission.
Front Mission.
Front Mission. Okay.
Now, the way you were describing that, I mean, this particular game's not an RPG per se, but it reminds me of Armored Core.
Armored Core.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the beat 'em up.
Okay.
That's from Capcom.
All right. Definitely two notable mentions for you guys to check out on your RPGing. Boss Rush, what do you got for us? What games do you have for us?
Well, I would definitely like to mention the game I mentioned earlier, the Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Okay.
This game kind of, for me, came out of nowhere. It was released in 2013, but I don't think I played it, or 2011. Actually, maybe it was I was 2011, and I didn't play it until about 2013. And it's just one of those games. Again, it was in a time where I wasn't super into first-person shooters, because this is basically, if anyone who's familiar with the original Deus Ex, it's, first-person perspective, but it's got a lot of, nuanced mechanics to it. It's a game that I've played, but never to completion, because I'm just not good at video games. But it's a great game, and I have enjoyed what I've played of it.
Isn't it great that you don't really have to be good at video games to love them?
I know, right?
To love them, right?
Yeah.
I love that. I love the fact that you don't really have to be like, some 12-year-old, developer's son that knows everything about the game. You don't have to be in order to love games. I've gotten thrashed on games before and had so much fun, like getting my ass handed to me. It was great.
Right.
Yeah, I just love getting my ass handed to me too.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
thank you for making that weird, Joe.
Hey, no problem.
All right, so Deus Ex Human Revolution. It's a game that came out on the PS3 and I believe Xbox 360, if I'm not mistaken. But I played the.
So they remade
PS3
it for the
version.
360?
No, that's not the same. I mean, I may be getting my generations crossed, but I played it on the PS3, so that's.
Yeah, PS3 and 360 were like the
360,
two.
Oh, they were the same.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But and the game as well.
Yeah.
Nice. So you got
as far as I know, it didn't
cross-platforming there. Nice.
Yeah. But what really kind of what made me attached to this game was like just the freedom of it. It's not quite open world, but it's pretty open, and I mean you can go in all guns blazing if you want. You can be super stealthy if you want. You can have like a little hybrid of the whatever. And there's like different missions you can take, and you can just not take them. You can kill NPC, and your quests disappear or whatever. It's nice. You got so much choice, and the beginning part is a pretty steep learning curve at first, but once you get over it, once you level up a couple times, you get some practice kits, as they call it, which help you upgrade your body. You play as a character called Adam Jensen, who gets all RoboCop, who gets pretty much mauled in the beginning of the game and has to get rebuilt.
Nice.
And these praxis kits, as they call it, is basically just kind of like it's the equivalent of like a level up point, and you just put it somewhere and it helps like off like some sort of attribute, and you just put them wherever you want.
Okay.
And you can invest in your hacking or your shields or your stealth or whatever. It's like I said, it's pretty open. It's got a lot of possibilities. You can play this game like 100 different ways and play it 100 different ways. And it's just, I thought it was a really, really great game. And it kind of surprised me. It kind of came out of nowhere. I think I saw like a YouTube review of it. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go give it a shot. And I'm glad I did, because I enjoyed it a lot.
Nice.
All right.
And I do got to say, like, the voice actor for Adam Jensen, his name is, I'm probably going to screw this up. I'm going to look at my notes here. Elias Tofexis. And the guy who voices Francis Pritchard, Andreas Purgis. Those two go off each other like so awesome. Like I mean, yeah, the Francis character he's a prick. He's a fucking prick. But when the rubber meets the road, he's a prick that'll have your back. And the play between the main character that you control, Adam Jensen, and Francis is just worth the price of admission by itself. I mean, I just love how the actors played those roles.
I think people often, especially people who aren't really into video games as much as we tend to be, I don't think they put the importance of the voice actors and the people who kind of bring these characters to life for us. Like, there's a lot like where I've experienced characters where I've liked them a lot more because of how they were either, but after the digital voices and they started like actually voice acting for the characters, it seems like I get really caught up. Like Kratos is one of those characters who has always like stood out as far as all the voice actors who, because you think it's been like two different ones, two different people did hit the games for him. But either way, very iconic. As far as how they did the voice acting and the way that this is a character that will like forever stay with me. You know what I mean? Like, I always remember hearing him either say boy or, in the first couple of games where he was like having these, discussions with the gods as he was killing them. It's just, that voice rings, you know what I mean, in my ears and in my head. So I think that's kind of awesome. And shout out to those voice actors and the people who, take their time to make that happen for us. It's definitely a prestigious element of the game. 8-Bit, you wanted to give us your games?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, the one game that I had chosen for all time, I said Final Fantasy 12, and obviously it's tough to just pick one, but 12 is a game that I think I can't stress enough how good it is, because the story itself really, it comes from this kind of like political intrigue, like interesting background of like all these different government bodies and things coming together, and you've got like these these kind of like ragtag group of sky pirates, and they sort of just like fall in the middle of this conflict. They're trying to protect this princess and everything, but it's got a very unique feel to it that a lot of these like high fantasy RPG games don't tend to have. And so I really like the tone of the game. And then that being said, I think that the combat and everything in it is it's very seamless, where you'll kind of equip your characters out, you'll go run out into the battlefield or whatever and be trying to get from one town to another, and as you see enemies coming up on you, your characters will just pull out their swords seamlessly, and they'll walk, and you just you can click a button and it'll kind of like pause stuff real quick, and then once you've selected what enemy you want to start attacking, they just start walking over there and doing their attacks and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And it's all very fluid. So like you can be going through an area and dispatching all these different enemies. You don't every time have to load up the music, load up the animation, do all that stuff. It makes grinding a lot more accessible, and it almost removes the need to do it, because you kind of naturally just defeat stuff wherever you go, that you don't really got to spend too much time grinding, which is really nice. And then one of the other aspects of the game that I think is really quite fun is in the versions of the game that they've put out on modern consoles. They have 12 is now available on Xbox One, the Switch, and PS4. They added some of the features that were only in the Japanese version, which allow you to kind of customize all your characters and like what jobs you want them to have. So in the original game, you had like one character who was the archer, one character who used guns, and in this new version of it, you can have anybody
Called
kind
the
of
Zodiac
build them
Age?
how you want. Yeah, the Zodiac Age is the subtitle they gave it for like the remaster on new consoles. So that part of it, like, you could play through the game and build your team out totally different every time. Nice. And there's a lot of stuff to do in the game after you've beaten the game. There's a hunters guild, and the hunters guild, they give you marks, and they'll be like, oh, okay, there's an albino, like, been stalking this area, go out there and hunt it. And all of the stuff they give you is optional, but everything that you hunt, you'll find all kinds of unique monsters, unique bosses, and stuff that will really challenge you. And by the end of the game, you have access to like some really difficult fights and some super cool, like, unique enemies too. And so I feel like the game just has a lot to give. Okay. And that's like even after you've already spent like 70 or 80 hours playing through it to beat it. So it's really just such a good game. It can't be overlooked. It's so good.
This is actually my first Final Fantasy.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
So that's 12, and then real quick, the thing I'll say about Final Fantasy IV. So that was actually it was the first game that I played in the Final Fantasy series. It was a game that I saw in Nintendo Power. Yep, I saw it in Nintendo Power, and I remember back in the day I was just getting into
AKA
like
the old people's internet. The
I,
old
I
people's
was
Google.
I know I was reading like old issues of Nintendo Power because I was just like a dork, and I would go
Every issue of
in-
Nintendo Power is old now.
Right.
I know, it's so true. It's so true. But Parasite Steve, he had a whole crate of Nintendo Power magazines, and I was just going through and like reading them and stuff and just loving it. And I found a spread about Final Fantasy IV, and I was like, "What is this?" And like it was just so cool looking. And there was this one screenshot of this whole party fighting like this giant sea serpent enemy, and I'm like, "This looks like the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, what is this?" And I like immediately I like went on to the computer and I downloaded like the ROM of Final Fantasy IV, and I was like, because I'm like, I don't know, I just got to get my hands on this right now. And I started playing it, and I remember like I was really bad at it. Like I kept getting my butt kicked by all these bosses and stuff. And I used to have a friend back in the day who would like he was really good at these games. I'd invite him over, and he'd help me beat the tough bosses I couldn't get through. And like it was just like amazing. It was just such like an incredible experience that Final Fantasy IV like had for me. And so now it's just forever going to be one of my favorites. And it's such a good game, and I think it was one of the first Final Fantasy games that actually had like a cast of characters. Like you weren't just creating your own characters.
Right.
They were actually they have
yeah.
stories and backgrounds and stuff like that. So that was also really neat too. But yeah, I don't know. That's my piece about that. But I love that game. So good.
Okay. And that was it for your games?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, of course, we talked a little bit about Final Fantasy VII. This
And
game,
I'm the one drinking.
right? No, I know, right?
One Mike's Hard
I got a
Lemonade.
contact bus from Joe's Mike's. But for me, Final Fantasy VII definitely stood out. And here's why: I was in my early 20s, I think, when this game came out. And I was working, going to school, doing what I had to do, and did not have a whole lot of time for video games. So I didn't really, I got to play some, and then I would. I think Siphon Filter was my go.
Sorry, I was trying to give you some background music.
No, I appreciate that.
But it kept cutting out, so every so often I just kept boop.
But so I was on my way, and I couldn't really have that much time for games. I think Siphon Filter was my go-to because it was like action, running,
Oh yeah.
real easy, and a great game, by the way. Shout out to all the people who made Siphon Filter, great game. But I think that was my go-to, and then I saw some. I don't remember if it was a magazine or if it was in a book that I was reading about video games that were coming out, and I saw the artwork for Final Fantasy, and I never been into any of the Final Fantasy games. I just didn't have the patience for them at that point in my life. Role-playing games were like just not. If I couldn't blow it up or kill it with a sword, I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, you were like Final Fantasy VII, man. I don't even remember 4 through 6.
Right, I was like,
in America.
We're
Stopped at 3. What happened?
I'm completely lost. And then a friend of mine told me, like, well, they're not all in succession. They're completely different stories, most of them on their own. There'll be a lot of familiar characters and familiar magic and familiar this, but most of the characters are different in each game. So I said, okay. And I saw the artwork, so I grabbed it, the 4-disc PlayStation Greatest Hits version.
Yep.
And I took it home. And I don't know what happened. I locked myself in the house.
I woke up. I entered a fugue
12
state.
days
A year later, I was
Right.
on level 60
2
and was
weeks
about to
later.
be I played this game religiously for like a week straight. Like if I was not like doing something essential to life, I was playing this game. Period. And like I was that engrossed in it. It was like it was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what and I don't like our role playing games. I don't, but this game kind of got me into it, and I needed to know what was going to happen next. I needed to know what I could do to affect what would happen next, and the choices that you make, why you collect certain things, why you run from certain battles, why you fight other ones. just that entire element, I had no idea was waiting for me in role-playing games, and this game kind of set that off for me. Developer Squaresoft. It was the publisher was PlayStation. It was also Sony Computer Entertainment and Windows Interactive. Who was the? I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name who actually created Square Enix. His name.
Well, I know. Well, the character designer was Tetsuya Nomura.
Okay,
He did a lot of the character
that's the guy I wanted to
design.
mention because that's the one who developed 7, correct?
Yeah, he did a lot. He did all the character design. I don't remember if he was the scenario writer too.
Okay.
But I know he did all the character design, and then obviously has, or maybe not obviously, but has gone on to do like all the character design for most of the Square games, including like all the Kingdom Hearts stuff, and so he's got quite a legacy. But yeah, I think maybe got his start with 7.
And he really made like these characters likable to me. I loved Barrett Wallace. I loved Klaus Strife. Like I cared about these characters. They mattered to me. Red 13, Vincent Valentine, all of them. Every single character, and even Yuffie. Like
really? I never struck you as a Vincent guy.
Yeah, I know, right? It was a surprise. But these characters stuck out in my head. Like I remember them. I mean, of course, you know Mario, you know Luigi, you know Sonic, you know Mega Man. You know these guys. They're like their family. They come over, they put their feet up, they drink the Kool-Aid.
Vincent.
But Cloud Strife and these
Vincent.
guys. Oh,
Hi, Vincent.
But the rest of these guys were like brand new to me, and it was awesome that they had such a big pull on me. So shout out to Final Fantasy VII, all the developers and the people who went into making that project. You guys made an awesome product, and I definitely recommend you play this. I have not to this day ever used or collected Knights of the Round.
Really? Oh man.
I have done everything. Well, I finished the game on level 60 because my run and gun tactics.
You're just flying through
on like level 60. It was crazy.
I've only played that game once, and that spell is still happening.
Is it really? I hear that's how it goes. It just continues. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna actually try during the remake to find that materia because it's like
oh my god, it's gotta be there.
Yeah, it's one of my bucket list goals. Like since I've never had Knights of the Round, so it's definitely one of my bucket lists. I'll let you guys know in future episodes if I obtain it.
I gotta hold on. Wait, I'll be right back. I gotta show you something. I'll be right back.
All right, cool. I'm gonna get into my second game, which was 15. A lot of people, and I gotta say this as well. There was a movie that came out for 7 called Advent Children, and then they had another movie for 15, which is called Kingsglaive. These movies made me love the video games even more. Like it was crazy. It's anime style of wow.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that is so awesome.
It's the whole Knights of the Round summon.
Oh
my God.
Nice.
Oh, so jealous. Yeah, I got it.
And it's still going, right?
It's still going.
It's going. Yeah, okay.
It's still going. But
I do have a Gabrynth figure somewhere, but it's buried in like the basement. I'm not gonna go.
Well, if you guys if while you guys are doing whatever you're doing, if you hear a grown man shriek like a 12-year-old girl, it's probably me finding Knights of the Round. So if you hear that, just ignore it. Everything's fine.
So what was I catching you saying about Kingsglaive?
I was actually going to get into the movie.
Okay.
Kingsglaive and Advent Children actually made me love these characters. I've already did love them before these movies, but these movies kind of boosted my love for these characters even more. And 15 is actually my second favorite Final Fantasy of all time, simply because of the graphics and the gameplay and everything. But it was something about the mechanics. Oh, the characters were amazing. But there was something about the mechanics of this game. I think what Tim was alluding to earlier about 4, how fluid, or no, was that
12?
12. About how fluid some of the attacks were and how you could stack the attacks and double team and triple team different characters. I love the way they did that in 15, and it seemed like it was a lot more like it belonged in that game a lot more than it did in any of the other ones that I played. So that was kind of awesome. And the characters were awesome. Noctis is one of my all-time favorite Final Fantasy characters now that they came out. I love him. And it's just such a great story, and you get so wrapped up in it. And like I catch myself thinking about this as I'm out running errands. Like, damn, I probably should stock up on potions. I'm kind of low. I mean, not here at the grocery store, but when I get home, I just buy a couple of potions, you know. Or wait, did I have that materia? Or do I need another one? I wonder if I put lightning in conjunction with this sword, what effect that might. Like I'm actually thinking
Right, it's
about
like
these
in your
things
brain,
now.
the gears are turning at all times. Yeah, it's like
And
it's so
that's
infectious.
so awesome that it's
Yeah.
that ingrained in your life when you're playing these games. And just shout out to the developers, the people who come up with this stuff, these products. You have no idea what you're doing for your fans. It's awesome. So those are my two games, 15 and 7. Gotta have them, gotta play them.
Nice.
Do you guys got any tips, tricks, tidbits you want to give our viewers? A little something to help on your way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. Go ahead.
I got one. I got one for Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm.
Get a memory card that works. That's
That might
That would
help. That might help.
There is a story. There's a story behind that. Twice I've attempted to play Final Fantasy VII, and the first time was on me. I didn't save as much as I should have, and my file got corrupted, and I lost everything.
Oh.
So I tried again. This time I'm saving more and more and more and more and more and more and more. File corrupt. Lost everything.
Wasn't meant to be.
It was the memory card.
And ever since then, I'm like, fuck this. Fuck this game. Right up the ass. Fuck it. I don't care.
I understand. Believe me, I get it.
That's such a
There's
that's
so
a killer.
much to collect.
It kind of like ruined the whole experience for me just because of that.
Okay.
Not the game's fault.
Get a memory card that works, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good tip.
Boss, you had one for us?
Yes, I do. Going back to Deus Ex Human Revolution, hack everything. Even if you don't have to, even if you have the code for it, like hack every computer terminal, hack every door lock, hack every safe, hack everything you can, because you get experience, and you get more experience, you get more practice kits. It just makes the game easier, because like I said, the beginning of that game has got a pretty steep learning curve, but once you get into the flow, it's pretty awesome. And also, non-lethal kills also give you more XP. So
that's a cool incentive.
If you gotta shoot somebody, you gotta put somebody down. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. But if you can, non-lethal takedowns will get you more experience and get you a buffer faster.
Ladies and gentlemen, Boss Rush Mode wants you to kill people with your bare hands instead of weapons.
No, non-lethal. Non-lethal.
Non-lethal. Oh, so don't kill anybody. Just beat them to death.
Punch them to death.
But like I said,
punch them until they're unconscious.
Punch them in the dick really hard.
If you have to shoot someone in the head to get through a certain area, then you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do, but try not to.
You just won't get as much XP. That's all.
All right, and everybody needs their XP. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Got it.
Get that fat XP.
8-Bit, you have anything for the viewers?
Sure. So there's actually one thing I want to mention about Final Fantasy XII that is so weird, so stupid, and I don't know why they did this, but honestly, unless you had somebody else go through it and tell you this ahead of time, you'll never know this. So if you are going to start playing through 12, the one thing I'd recommend is to look up a treasure chest guide, because there are certain chests that are hidden around the world that if you open them, they prevent you permanently from getting some of the best items in the game.
I don't even know this.
There's no warning. There's no message. There's nothing that tells you this happens other than if you had the strategy guide. But there are certain chests that if you skip over them and you don't open them, elsewhere in the game down the road, it will spawn like a chest that has a super overpowered like weapon or armor set or something like that. And the only way to know that is if you had a guide. There's absolutely no NPC.
Yeah, because you see a chest, you're going to open it.
You're going to open it. You're going to open it every single time. Like, no game incentivizes you not to.
For the next giveaway, I think I'm going to go ahead and get us a couple of those, the guides. I love them, and I definitely recommend that you use them, especially when you're playing RPGs or games that have lots of items you need to collect. And
especially nowadays,
I'm going to get my hands on some of those.
Yeah,
especially nowadays, where like the instruction books are like long gone, and you might need some of that to help you.
Yeah, some of that good first-handers knowledge. You know what I mean? Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
For me, and I'm going to need the help from my Retro Ridoctopus guys on this one, because I have no idea how to do it, and I'm kind of lost. I don't remember how to unlock Vincent. I know he's a character that when you meet him, you have to do something in order to make him a part of your party. And one of the
I'm useless here.
Yeah, me too.
But I know one of the
I mean,
decisions
I would suggest try giving him roses and some chocolates and
that's
ask
not
him
gonna
out on a
work.
date or something. I don't know.
It's definitely not going to work. Although
Maybe
he's a very nice
you
guy,
should
he might
cross
go
dress.
on a date with you
Maybe you
just
should cross dress.
No,
Get his attention.
I don't see Vincent putting down a dress. Although he does have the cape, which is like a dress.
No,
I mean, he's fairly pretty.
When you play as Cloud, you put the dress on Cloud and then have him hit on Vincent.
Oh,
You can only wear the dress in the Honeybee Inn. Okay, you can't always wear the dress.
Fuck this game up the ass even more then.
Right.
So you're talking about in the original Final Fantasy VII, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, I don't remember exactly what sets it up. I think you got to be on like disc 3 at least.
Yeah.
And I just remember, you go back to Cloud and Tifa's hometown.
Yeah, where they grew up. Yes, correct.
Right,
and
you go where they grow up. Yeah,
Right.
you go down the basement like before you're gonna, see that whole like almost staircase of like liquid tanks or whatever, where like you see Genova and you find Sephiroth there, whatever. I just remembered that in that little corridor before you go there, if you go back to it in disc 3, there's a secret passageway there that opens up, and you go inside, and there's just I want to say there's a coffin in there,
right?
And that's where Vincent is. Unless if it's not that, then you got to go to some cave with the submarine, and then get Vincent there, and then you bring him back there. And he has like a memory,
I think
and that's
the one I was looking for, the submarine, where you actually, because you fight the second weapon.
Yeah, and I want to say that you find Vincent in a cave somewhere, and once you have him, when you bring him back to that place, I think it unlocks one of his limit breaks. I think that's what I'm remembering.
Okay.
I want to say, but it's been so long. I can't recall. I just have like that vision of him in the coffin, in that town. And I'm just like, I think that's where it is.
Well, hopefully we steered you guys right, and you can get the information obviously online. But I do know that there's a choice that you have to make before. Oh wow, am I lagging?
Oh, a bit.
Yeah,
Slightly.
a little bit. For this part, might as well keep going.
Yeah, we might as well. We're at the end. Yeah. But if you guys have that, hopefully we steered you right. If not, you can check the information online. But we will be able to give you some information if you hit us up and let us know what it is you need to know about it. I will make sure to do some more research. But I know there's a choice that you have to make that adds Vincent to your party at some point. So if you need the information, hit us up in the comments down below, and I will make sure to give you everything that you need as far as adding Vincent to your party. And I believe that does it for this episode of Retro Gamia. Thank you all for hanging out with us and going over our favorite Square products. We hope to hear from you guys. Don't forget about the giveaway. And don't forget to stick around for the next show, where we are going to be talking about games we wished, our Dream Team games.
Yes.
Games that we wished would get made or remade.
Yes.
So get your suggestions. Definitely join us and let us know what you think. And we can't wait to see you guys on the next show. Final blah blah blah.